Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Price of Vengeance at Chaotic Neutral Games. I'm Simon, your DM for tonight, as we join Felicia, Corinne, Jordan, and Danny with adventures on the high seas of Valeria. Don't forget that you can help or indeed hinder by using your channel points in the game. Check out the options in the chat bar. And some of the crew now must have collected quite a bit. You can also join the chaos by clicking the Discord link below, or vote towards the session twist by becoming a subscriber. So let's join the players.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Wasn't sure for a second.
Has she done the transition? I can't tell.
I was trying to find some background music frantically, and I had to switch, and I was like,
I apologize for the lighting, by the way. For some reason, it's gone a bit weird, so I'm going dark and mysterious with the one side in shadow today. I need to get it back. Yeah. Anyway. Welcome to our Skags. I can see some of the crew are already present and correct. And so we are going to be continuing with our investigation in Port Farouk. We are now in the second phase of this campaign, the short campaign. And that is the We Are Thieves, or We Be Thieves section of it.
So
you're in Port Farouk,
and
I gave you a map last session.
Yep.
4. No. Yes. Episode
This is
5.
5.
Session 4.
This is
It's
5.
episode 5. Are we halfway?
5.
Are we halfway through the story, Simon?
Yeah, you are technically halfway through the story. Yeah. It's going to go on a little bit more than 10 parts because you guys did extra stuff, and as long as you're having fun, I'm having fun, so I'll probably do it a little more than 10 parts. But I'm still going to make sure that it goes in a timely manner to the end, rather than you guys going, "Hey, let's all go off to fucking Sylvania." Your
Felicia.
your ship will sink.
I heard there's a party going on.
Oh, shall we go to Skullra, guys? Shall we go to Skullra and meet some dragons? Maybe we should line herself with a red.
It will be gone and done.
If we align ourselves with the red dragonfly, maybe we can have.
Go to war with yourselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go to war with your level 11 characters.
That'll be fine.
You're fine.
We have some skags on our side. We've got this.
Go on, Skags, get him.
Are you going to go for the Brannigan tactic? I'll throw as many Skags as I can at them until they're tired. Then I'll just go up and...
I'm sure Glory would love carving through hunks of skags.
Oh, gee. That's the thing. Glory wouldn't even get tired. She'd just be there going, acid, 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 and just killing them all with cantrips. There's killing with kindness and killing with cantrips. Oh, and hello, Scornfuse. Nice to see you back again.
Hello.
And,
little Scorpius.
I haven't had a chance to put out the art yet, but if you remember from last session, I said just as a throwaway comment that I needed art of Scornfuse looking guilty, sat on a barrel, and we've got it.
In a tuxedo. In a tuxedo.
In a tuxedo.
It was perfect.
If you have not checked out the artist room in Discord,
I can probably
check it out at some point. And it's the best. I've actually got it printed out here. It's great.
It is adorable.
It is
Very
so
much
cute.
Adorable.
I'm going to bring us to in-character screen, and then I might be able to throw it up. Just give me a moment.
Sure.
Ooh, some promotion.
So, I did go over a little bit of this with the players just before we started, but yes, you're in Port Farouk. You spoke to the matron, Nikala. Nikala is a member of he says, checking his notes because there's so many tribes, the Wari, the Blood Whisper tribe. And she is trying to get it so that the rations that you brought in are going to be equally shared amongst the various tribes. You know that the Razali and the Peltorah, the Bitter Sun Horde, are in cahoots with each other and are attempting to control the flow of the rations so that they go favorably towards, funnily enough, not the Razali, to the Bitter Sun Horde themselves. Now, in a place where everybody's starving, food becomes the ultimate currency. And if that's true, that means that the Bitter Sun Horde will be the ones who are active in the golden rule. Whoever has the gold makes the rules, or in this case, the food. You do know that the other tribes are now struggling. You have the...
It's adorable, though.
You know that the Kawiti, the Brightwing tribe, known for their prowess on the sea, small fishing boats for the most part, but they mostly stick to the coastlines. They are struggling to keep everybody alive. This has momentarily, by the way, given some sort of truce amongst the tribes too starving to fight, only really exerting their energy when they think there's food at the end of it. And the Brightwing tribe have been bringing in fish and anything else they can find to be able to bolster any food supplies. You did meet a member of the Ashkupla. The Ashkupla are pretty much the only tribe that uses two-handed weapons, large two-handed weapons. Mostly axes, as you guessed by the fact that they are called the Twin Axe tribe. And that means a twin head on the axe, by the way. They don't carry two axes. And this one, who refused to give his name, said that if he can get into the wastes, he will go and kill some large creatures, some very dangerous creatures called sandrakes, and bring them back to be able to feed everybody. He said it's dangerous. He may die in the attempt, but was frankly okay with that, and that he just didn't want to. He didn't want to starve in somewhere as unnatural as a town. He wanted to be out in the wastes when he died. Yeah. Other than that, you haven't really spoken to many of the other tribes. So on the map that I've given you, you have 11 of the Just Baron tribes. There are a lot more than that, but these are considered to be the major tribes, so much so that they have barrios. So barrios are kind of small districts where they've kind of picked out a bunch of buildings or built a bunch of buildings in a protective circle to be able to keep hold of their, to keep themselves safe. You can see that there's other places that aren't necessarily of any one tribe. There are people who are kind of cross-tribe or without tribe, and also people who would have moved here to be able to trade with the various people. So you can find people who are outside of the tribal system in this court as well. So you've got the Kawiti, which is the Brightwing tribe. You've got the Tenakahi, the giant snake tribe, which you remember, Dave, your mutated stag, is from the originally from the giant snake tribe. At least you come to that conclusion.
Yep.
The Twin Axe, we already talked about them. The Blood Whisper tribe, Nikala is from that. The Steel Sisterhood, the Kiwader, you haven't met any of those yet. The Risen Skull, you had a moment with the Chronodoli, the Risen Skull, where he was swimming towards your ship to try to negotiate for your food in advance.
Yeah.
And Corinne jumped in the water. Shuri jumped in the water. Shirin, isn't it? Not
Shirin, yeah.
Shirin, yeah. Shirin jumped into the water to have a word with him before the guard told him to go fuck himself.
Yeah, because I thought, is he in trouble? Is it like, what's going on? But no, it's just...
Oh yeah, it was the right thing to do, I think. Yeah. The Rosali are the reasons why you're here. You're trying to get some dirt on them and find out what the fuck they're up to. The Bokabra, Voice of Freedom, you haven't met any of those. Bitter Sun Horde, you've only met one hench human female. And the Burned Lions and the Red Storm, you've heard nothing of at all. So...
most of the leaders we met so far are human.
Let's see, the one guy who was the member of the Rosali, the Magister, yeah, he was Eric, yeah. He was half-elven.
Half-elven, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Twin Axe guy was also human?
Yeah, just out of fluke, the people you've met so far are human.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
But there's the usual mix of races in the port.
Yeah. And the
mix that port.
And the lady as well that we caught up with was also human.
Yes. Nikala. Nikala is human as well.
Yes, and also Puddles try to eat your ankles. We have to give you like high-heeled boots or like plateau boots so you can walk around without.
Oh, like high-heeled pirate boots.
Yes.
High-heeled plateau pirate boots.
I was about to say, I want to see a.
Do not ask for a kobold in high heels, please.
Yeah, I want to see a kobold in the full. What's his name? David. My brain's going.
David Links. I saw like a think of.
I'm talking about the Pirate King from Labyrinth.
Oh, David Bowie.
And the full David Bowie platforms, you know.
Mm.
There is something I need in my life.
Just carry him.
Just something we need in our lives. That is entirely correct.
Yes.
Dragons went with the others. With the food. And is currently with the city guards. You have at your disposal Scumfuse, Defrate, Prime, and Hermit. So, actually, no,
Defrate. Stormfuse is with us. The other two is with those two.
Sure.
Defrate stayed back at the ship this time.
Yes,
I was about to say, Defrate did stay back.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't seen Defrate in chat, so I don't know if he's here today.
Okay.
Traitor.
We're gonna go and jump to. We're gonna pause what we were doing with Felicia and Corinne, and we're gonna jump over to Jordan and Danny.
So we don't know what you guys have been doing at all.
Nope. So you guys, you have Hermit and Prime at your disposal. What is it that you guys are gonna do?
Now these guys actually did their homework 5 minutes, half an hour before. So
well, we had a vague idea before we finished last time of what where we were going to be and sort of what we were doing. Because we haven't met anyone yet, we can't say, oh, we're going to ask them these questions because we haven't met anyone yet because we haven't done anything yet. Because
I want to go around the ports, the bars, the shops if there is any. I know they're really short on supplies here. But if anything is open, especially if there are taverns with anyone in them, then I want to go and just get a lay of the land, get like the word on the street and find out what the little people are talking about rather than a magister. And just hear some of the gossip. Not necessarily carousing, but just general pub gossip.
Yeah. Okay, so a few things. So normally you can see that there are indeed taverns here. This is a place where people go to rest when they've come out of the wastes, the salt flats, the various kind of stone-covered desert that makes up a good 95% of Jaspera.
Yeah.
So there are taverns here, and good taverns as well, from what you can see. You can see that the taverns though have been converted into effectively ration centers.
Okay.
As people are coming up and asking the proprietor for food.
Yeah.
You can see that as you go up to one of them, a bunch of Kawiti with strange glaives that have like hooks on the back of the blade. So they're kind of part billhook, part glaive.
Okay.
Are walking up and kind of holding the blades out with no bullshit, to say you come anywhere near this, we're going to stab you. And you can see that they have what seems to be almost like a large stretcher-like affair with fish on it. The fish is letting off a form of what's it called? It's like steam, but it's on cold stuff. Rime.
Oh yeah, I know.
I'm gonna use rime. I don't think that's quite the right word. Yeah. But you can see that the fish have been frozen, and sure enough, as they're walking in, there is a Kawiti who suddenly mutters and uses the frostbite spell to further freeze the fish.
It's a good use of the frostbite spell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've used it before in other games where I've just gone refrigeration.
Yeah, exactly.
The Kawiti are like, back, you'll have your part. And they go in, and you can see that this really heavily pot-bellied halfling is there going, don't worry, everybody, don't worry. We're going to make sure that everybody gets a bite. It's fine. It's fine. And someone shouts at the back, a bite isn't going to be enough. We'll all starve on a bite. You need to prioritize people. People need to make a decision. And the halfling goes, no, now you're that's the way to get everybody fighting now, isn't it? To fight over the food. No, I will not have that. Not in my establishment. You know, the only fighting is good old-fashioned fighting over alcohol. Yes. No, there will be fresh water for everybody who can. And I have people inside who are doing more. If we cannot give you fish, we can give you good berries. We can give you other things. We will keep you alive. I know that you're weak. I know that you want to be strong again, that you want to be able to go and fend for yourself. But we shall get through this, and we shall all get through this alive. And
is there quite a crowd then gathered outside?
Yeah, it's huge, but you can see there's similar crowds outside every tavern. In fact, once the Kawiti turn up at this one, you can see that there are people sprinting in some cases, using the last of their energy to get from one to the other in the hope of something to eat. Now, everybody, form a line. We've roped off this section here. Please, form a line. Let's be civil now. Let us be civil. And you can see that behind the halfling, because this halfling's no fool, are two fucking huge half-orcs who aren't taking any fucking bullshit as well. And you can see both of them are armed with great clubs that probably won't kill a person, but will probably knock them cold with great efficiency. So these giant cudgels that they're holding in their hand is like, let's be civil now. We don't want to be not civil, do we? Anyway, we're going to get this all cooked. I'll eat it raw. I know, but it won't take but a moment. And you shall all have your piece. He heads inside, and for some of you who are a little more high on the perception score, as he turns around, you can hear him go, fucking assholes. He's not whispering it exactly, because nobody at this point can, well, what are they going to do? Leave his fine establishment. Yeah. He walks in, and yeah, there's people queuing. You can see some people look weaker than others, other people louder than others, and it's clear they've had something to eat recently. And so yeah, you've got a mixture of all strata of society here. Okay,
so yeah, I was going to ask a few things. Are they struggling to contain the crowd? Does it look like it's going to boil over? The second thing would be, you say there's all kinds of people here, but are the people at the front of the queue of a different barrio than the ones that are getting nowhere near? Are they getting favoritism?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then finally,
yeah,
how much food does it look like they've got to go around? Is it literally a bite each?
You think that everybody who comes up will probably have half of a thin fish slice, a fish steak. So if you know the kind of fish steaks that kind of have a crescent in the middle, so where they cut out the guts here. Mm-hmm. If you take one of those that's about that thin and cut it in half, that's what each person would have.
Ooh, okay.
You think just about life-sustaining?
Yeah.
Based on what they're doing. And you can see that the halfling is there kind of going, make sure they're all the same. Make sure they're all the same. And the elf, wood elf, that is cutting the portions actually has a stick, like a piece of dowel, and is measuring each slice meticulously all the way down. At which point he goes, wider towards the tail. Put your finger next to it. Yes, that's it. Because it's, yes, you've got it.
So it looks like he's being quite fair about it.
Yeah, the halfling seems to be very very pragmatic about it all.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for all that he's clearly charisma bunny, he seems to have a bit of wits about him.
Yeah. Okay.
You asked about the people who are at the front. There are people definitely who are at the front, and so you can see that there are armored women like Valkyries, who are kind of at the front. Sorry, there's a mixture of people at the front, and these are the people. This is a mixture, to be clear. So you've got these armored Valkyrie, which you presume are the Steel Sisterhood.
Yeah.
You can see some of the Ashkupla are there. Of course, you haven't met the other guy, but you can see the giant twin-headed axe on their back. You can see that some of the kind of whirling dervish, light armored, kind of silks and things spilling from their belts of the Tenakahi, the giant snake tribe, with their thin slashing, kind of almost plant-shaped blades, almost serpentine blades, are scattered through the front as well. And the Red Storm are there as well. So you can see that there's these people where they have pressed these red salts into their flesh over time, and it's given them like a bright crimson sheen. And they're of all races.
Okay.
You can see that some of the orcs amongst them, where they've pressed it into their skin, it's mixed with the green and kind of given them like an almost terracotta color.
Cool.
And there's a lot of them. Can't remember what you rolled last time. Did you roll particularly high last time on knowledge of the tribes?
Someone did, but I don't. Oh, I might have done. I might have got a decent roll. Yeah, I don't think it was particularly high, but someone got something particularly high.
I think you did, because I think we explained it away as you heard it in the pub or something.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, you heard it in pub, and I think I rolled like a dirty 20 or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
With
I think
some,
but
I can't remember if that was about the tribes or if that was about the like Broken Sun thing.
Actually, I've just found the parts in my notes where I did tell you about one particularly nasty one called the Burned Lions. And their favourite way of killing people was staking them out under the sun until they died of sunburn, basically, or probably heat stroke. But you notice that none of those guys, you're kind of looking out for them, because you've heard they're badasses. There's none of them around. The people who are pushed to the back, and by push to the back, basically it's just been like the more confident and stronger ones have stepped forward.
That's what it sounds
and the others
like. It sounds like the more martial classes are at the front. Really.
Yeah.
Oh no, Defrate. Hopefully we can keep you awake this time.
There are plenty at the back. There are plenty of what seems to be a matriarchal group, and they're kind of slowly singing to themselves and singing to the children around them as well, they all seem kind of Romany, and there's a kind of a Wiccan feel to them as well.
Okay.
Then you've got a bunch of people who are in kind of pauper's clothes, but it's almost like a uniform. They all have sand-colored clothes. They're very thin, very gaunt. And you can see that they all have weapons, but they seem to be kind of in the middle-ish.
Okay.
And then
but I don't know if they're from a particular tribe.
Give me a roll, actually, because it was mentioned before. Give me a perception check. Were you listening at the time?
I rolled 13. I've got +4, so 17.
Yeah, you remember. These are the Bokabra tribe, the Voice of Freedom. They rose up and killed overnight, genocide, their slavers, and Yeah, they are. They're kind of in the middle, and it's not so much that they're particularly confident. It's just that they seem to be, I don't know, just coping with it better. They're standing a little more proud, a little more tall. Yeah.
Okay.
And the other people are kind of at the back, and some of them have injuries. Are similar to the guy that you saw before, where he had like skull paint on his face. And that was referred to before as the Chronodoli, the risen skull. And you did hear somebody say before, don't deal with them fucking necromancers.
Okay.
They are stood kind of sheepishly at the back. They seem to be wanting to push in. You can see them kind of coming forward, chancing their luck. And as they go forward, one of the women who's on the floor with 3 children, with the way that she's kind of talking to them, it doesn't seem like they belong to her. The second that they step forward, she turns around and says, "Try a dark one." And as she opens up a hand, a symbol just goes on her hand, and she's holding up like a glyph.
Like a ward.
Yeah. And you can see them go,
oh, shit. Okay. Crazy. Okay. And I see no Bitter Sun Horde, I guess. And no Rosali.
No Bitter Sun Horde at all, no Rosali.
BSH.
Yeah.
Bitter Sun Horde.
And as I said, you haven't seen any burned lines.
Any burned lines? Oh, yeah, true. Yeah.
But you have a feeling that even for a strip of rations, anybody would talk to you.
Is there anything on me that marks me as Forsaken?
No, it's more once you become Forsaken and you are under the Galaman, people when they look at you just seem to feel like something is off.
Okay.
Most people who are badasses, like the Ash Kupla that spoke to the other two, he'd just be kind of like, no, whatever, kind of thing. But the average kind of gentlefolk in the street would be kind of like, oh. And
you've got the swagger.
You have a haunted look.
Okay.
But that kind of blends in a bit around here.
Yeah.
Exclamation mark the fate.
What you trying to do with that?
Do I have? I don't have rations at the moment. And even if I have, I don't want to start a riot.
Yeah, remember to confuse. You are with me and Ava, so we are leading you around while you're being blinded by the sun.
I think we've got Hermit and Prime.
You have a tiny top hat that shadows just slightly so that you can actually see in front of you if you hold your head straight. And we have each our hands so that and steering you between people so you don't knock into anyone.
Again.
Yes, you've got Hermit and Prime if you need to send Skags off to do anything.
Yeah. I don't know.
Reliability!
A lot there. I'd like to... Yeah, I want to go and just... I know I don't. It's gonna just... So many options. I want to get in the queue, actually. I just want to get... in the queue and work my way... Are the group that are singing to the children, are they trying to get forward, or are they just hanging out?
Oh, they're in the queue. Yeah, they're in the queue. Yeah. So you would pretty much, if you're joining the queue now, you'd be behind the Chronodoli.
Yeah, so that's good. I want that. I'll go behind the Chronodoli, and I just want to. I want to look to see is everybody giving them a wide berth? Does everybody treat them with hostility?
More disdain than hostility. Certainly disdain. And when you stand behind the Chronodoli, they look at you as if to go... They look at you weirdly, as if you've done something weird or wrong. And
so people don't often stand near them, I guess. Is that so? Can I make some kind of insight check? Is that?
Yeah, it'd be an insight check. There's what languages do you speak?
I think just Dwarvish and Common.
Okay. So you hear one of them turn around and go,
to each other.
That's two of the Chronodoli say that to each other. Or one says it to another one, and the other one just kind of. You notice they got black gums.
Oh, these are lovely people, aren't they? Can I see if whether they are laughing at me or being aggressive towards me, or they're just having a bit of a laughing joke banter?
Give me an insight check.
We need to make one of those, the 14. Ones you have on theme parks, the armbands with like the phone number to the parents. We need to put one of those scorpions.
Please return to that big ship over there.
I am not a quest objective. Please put me back on the way back.
Please leave at port to be picked up. So I got 14.
14, yeah. So on a 14, you get that there's a little bit of disbelief from them, and there's a little bit of mocking. He was definitely a bit kind of mocking. Probably not so overt that he's going to start a fight, but enough that you'd kind of like it'd be kind of like, what the fuck is this Joker doing? And then something else maybe.
That's kind of what I got from your face. Just checking. Okay, I'm going to actually push past them. I'm going to try and push past them to the next one. And just
as you push past the one that spoke before, he goes, "Oh God, Thresh," and steps back. And if you look at him when he speaks, he just gives you a huge black tongue, black gummed smile, and gestures you forward. Which means that you are now next to the women. One of the women look back at you and says, "You'll not be trying that with me, friend."
Not at all. I smile down. I smile at the kids, and I just give her a winning gap tooth smile, and I just bide my time. And this is my place for now. While I try and figure out, are they from just for 5 or 10 minutes? I'm just going to bide my time and go and let things settle down after I push through, and try and find out if they're from a particular tribe or not. If I hear anything, are they talking in common?
To you, there, yeah. To each other, a mixture of languages. So in this case, race and language don't necessarily denote tribe. If there's one thing that you can say to the credit of the Jasperans is that tribe isn't down to race. She turns around to you and says, "You're clearly not from around here, friend. I'm Wari. My tribe is Wari. I'm of the Blood Whisperers."
The Blood Whisperers. What do I know about the Blood Whisperers?
She says, people always twist the name. It doesn't have the same meaning in our ancestral town. It means to talk to the heart, to the body, to talk to the self. We are able to push our bodies further than most people can. It's how we survive in the wastes.
I was going to say, sounds like a very handy thing to be able to do around here, and you can clearly look after yourself. I saw the way you dealt with that fellow over there.
Those dark souls, yes.
Yeah, what's up with them?
They like to practice undead arts to make concoctions out of the flesh of the unliving. Some of them have patrons out in the wastes. Strange, twisted undead. They drink the blood of these immortal beings, and it gives them the same that unearthly resistance that we are able to place upon ourselves and our children. They get other abilities, at which point one of the Chronodolius goes. But it warps the mind and erodes the soul. They are opportunists, opportune hunters. They will go out into the wastes and ambush, eat the flesh of the living. Cannibalism is pretty much a standard amongst them. We watch them. We all watch them. At which point a fully fucking armored Valkyrie turns around and nods in agreement, and then kind of looks ahead in the line.
And I'll go a little bit closer and just say, surely not everyone does. Surely they must work with someone. You can't survive in a place like this by yourself. They must have, like, friends in high places. Otherwise, they'd be out in the wastes, living off whatever they're living off.
They have, I use the word loosely, they have their priests. Mostly deranged, but otherwise, well, no, they are deranged. The priests are more high functioning, I guess, would probably be the word. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've spoken so much common.
Doing grand.
These here are they are holding on because they've been told to hold on, and they act as civil as they can. Their leaders, though, here are the ones that talk to, well, demons, frankly. The undead are led, after all, by... I'd rather not speak his name. And you know that she's referring to Orcus, the demon lord of the undead. And she refuses to say his name.
Where do they live? Hang on. Oh yeah, I've got a map. Sorry.
No, you'd ask though, wouldn't you? She goes, they have a barrier down the river on the outskirts of town, a slum, more or less. They are regularly raided by the other tribes to make sure that there's no wayward
hostages?
Walkers that they've kidnapped, or any rituals that we would disapprove of. For the most part, whenever we go in there on force. And you can see that there's snarls on the faces, like a rictus on the face of the Chronodoli behind you.
Okay.
I'm sure they're trying to get food at the moment because they know that if they were to give in to their base instincts, we would pretty much cleanse them. I think that's the correct word, is it not? And suddenly,
and I'll just kind of flinch a
little
bit.
Tribes turn around as one, and they're like, "Damn fucking straight! Yeah, we don't need them in here. Less mouths to feed. Give them to the fish. That's what I'm saying. Get some nice fat fish going."
I'm saying nothing. I'm just letting
the Chronodoli don't seem to be panicked. They smile. They seem to love the haste to their direction.
Oh, score.
I don't see any of the Rosali or the Sun Horde here.
You won't. The Rosali are they're getting food in from their ports, and they're using their magics to be able to create more food. But of course, they're not sharing it with us. They say it's tribal property, and the old laws stand. In a way, they may be right, but the Horde, apparently, that rule doesn't apply to them. They're in well with the Rosali. Also, because they seem to be, they seem to be the majority around here. They are getting a larger share. They're certainly very present, and she points around the street, and you can see in groups of 4 or more, the Bitter Sun Horde are just walking around, wasting energy.
Basically being intimidating.
It doesn't look like a patrol. They look almost like they're having a leisurely promenade next to the waterfront or next to the river. But yeah, whereas everybody else is staying out of the sun and and conserving energy. These people are walking around.
We're just gonna adopt every weird person we see. Is that what you want to Harriet? Do you want us to adopt everyone who is like slightly off and be like, yes, you are our gremlin now?
Isn't that what we do?
Yeah.
Sorry, what's that, Danny?
If this goes on, there's going to be a riot. Surely there's been some scuffles. But have people not tried to, bring the Rosali down a peg? And I'm not encouraging anything. I'm just saying, I've seen this before. It's going to happen eventually if food gets tighter and tighter. And these are walking around showing that, we've got plenty to eat, then people are going to do something about it. People are going to rise up, surely. Hasn't it happened yet?
The Rosali mostly stay behind the walls front. They normally contract out the other tribes to do the dirty work for them. In this case, it's clearly the Horde. The only time that you'll see them is if they need to come out for something significant, like your arrival, for example.
I noticed.
Yeah. And of course, the guards will keep the peace, but if the peace breaks out to the point where the guards can't deal with it, the guards retreat back to the palace and just let everybody kill each other, and they come in and beat up the winners, who are already scarred up, of course. It's a tried and tested tactic in city guards in most cities, I'm told. We come here, we get what we can, we go back to our place, we conserve energy. Many of our chants and our traditions, some of our herbal mixtures, and we can still get hold of some of those, allow us to withstand things like hunger, thirst. We have offered to sing our songs amongst the other tribes if they will help us in other ways. We've had some deals so far that have gone ahead, which is good, but mostly we sing it to our own. This is why the children here, you can see, they're not too bad. And she kind of ruffles one little boy's hair, his little half-orc boy's head, and he kind of looks at you and nods as if to say, yeah, I'm okay. And the kid looks a little thin. He's certainly not chubby, but he doesn't look too bad. He looks like he just needs a couple of extra meals. That's all. He doesn't look like he's suffering. And you can see that even as you're talking to one of these other Wari has sat down, and she's just singing this very low song and this low guttural tongue to a bunch of other children who, as she starts singing, the children start just feeling better. And you have a feeling that this form of, I'm going to use the term witchcraft, this kind of Wiccan, pagan kind of thing. I don't want it to be any of them, if you get me. I like it that direction, but I don't want it to be any one specific thing. The Wari are the Wari, as far as I'm concerned. And you can see that the children are bolstered by the song. And it's clear that they're using their magical power to keep themselves strong and to keep themselves resilient. And you have a feeling that this is how they cross the wastes with their children, with their elderly. The song keeps them going.
Okay. I'm glad you're looking after the little fellas. It's very important. It's all about them, really, isn't it?
Well, for us, everything is family. We are a tribe for one reason and one reason alone, and that is our shared ideals. That of family, co-survival. It's what keeps us out there in the wastes.
If we can do anything about this, then I'll make sure that these little fellas get some food first.
Thank you. Strange to hear those words from a Forsaken.
Is it though?
Yes.
Depending on, because they don't know, she doesn't know what I've done. If everyone knows the background, then
What can I say? You don't have the best reputation.
Yeah, true.
That's Simon speaking, not her.
Yeah, I've got kids myself. I know how it feels.
I can tell.
And I look back at the Chronodoli. I just look him up and down, give him like a bro nod, and I'm going to walk off towards. I'm going to leave the queue. I'm just going to walk off towards the Broken Sun Horde, one of their patrols, and just casually go for a stroll and follow them and see what they get up to.
You follow them for a bit.
Yeah.
They just seem to be walking around, talking in low tones to each other. Occasionally, one of them breaks out in laughter. That's about the only laughter that you've heard since being here, unless it's
So they're
nervous
super
laughter.
comfortable. Comparatively, that's okay.
Yeah. You can see that a lot of the people who are walking around at the moment, they're carrying the, other than the Kiwadia, the Steel Sisterhood, who are still in full plate, even though you can see like the sweat dripping down the plate. Everybody else is kind of like unladen themselves, so they're not using up too much energy walking around. They may have a weapon on themselves just in case, but that would be it. It's like even like the Tanakahi. They've got those vicious, incredibly sharp swords. But you've noticed that for the most part, some of them have even just dropped the armor completely, going, well, I'm based on mobility anyway, so fuck it. And you have a feeling they probably do pretty well as long as they've got the energy to be able to do things. Well, in mechanical terms, they've got a good dex, so they have 10 plus
that's
their dex.
right. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, Dexy-based combat.
So the Bitter Sun Horde seem to be fine.
Okay. Well, given that this isn't the pub visit that I envisaged, I'm going to... Can I just leave it there and have a think about what I'm doing next?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, we'll go back to... unless... Oh, sorry, Jordan. If there's anything that you would like to say.
Yeah. So Alphonse would head towards more of the slums kind of area, because he's going to try to blend in and try and see who he can find. Absolutely.
As you go towards the slum outskirts of Port Farog, which ironically is closer to the it's closer to the southwest.
Yeah, that's where I wanted to go.
Yeah. So you're going towards number 6, which is actually the Chronodoli area. You notice that there are two sets of tribal people that you see more of and more of and more of. And you can see more of the Bitter Sun Horde as well. So the Bitter Sun Horde around here are actually in groups of 6 to 8.
Right.
And when they're walking around, they are glaring at people. They're mostly glaring at the Chronodoli, who are kind of just... I don't know, it's very slimy how they're walking around. They're creeping, they're stalking around the slums, looking out of abandoned house windows and things. And they get totally glared at by the Horde. Then on top of that, you can see that there are some of the... you can see that they've got they are clearly sunburnt, as opposed to the Red Storm, who have salts, making them their flesh an unearthly red color. Right. These are clearly sunburnt people. That you can see that the skin has been tanned over and over and over again. If you've ever seen any of those pictures on the internet of somebody who's been sunbathing most of their life and they're like a shrill prune, people in their middle age in this tribe are completely shriveled. Yeah.
Right.
By overexposing themselves zealously. You can see most of them are collapsed on doorways, anywhere that they can be kind of in the sun, but kind of where it's cool.
Right.
And you put 2 and 2 together straight away. You're the healer. You've seen enough of this type of thing. Well, not this type of thing, but similar type of things. The burned lions, as part of their creed, soak up the sun to give them strength. Well, that's what they believe. They're overexposing themselves to the sun whilst being malnourished, and it's all but killing them. In fact, some of them that seem to be unconscious at the moment, you wouldn't be at all surprised if you went up, checked for a pulse, and there wasn't one. Right. There's even as that thought occurs to you, a group of 8 Bitter Sun Horde walk past nonchalantly, and as they do so, they just kick, not like a full run up and boot, but just casually kick one of the burned lions into the gutter, because he's in their way, and they just kind of tow him out the way, and he just rolls into the road.
Right.
Other than that, you can see that the one set of people who walk around with pride and purpose, they seem to be kind of like they're not being threatening, but they're also taking no shit, are the Bokabra, the voice of freedom. They are walking around, again, groups of 3 or 4, but they are always escorting someone, not necessarily of their own tribe.
Okay. Are they escorting anyone right now?
The group that you're seeing at the moment is escorting a pregnant Tenakahi woman.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay. I might actually walk up to them. And,
Hold, stranger.
Mhm.
What business have you with us?
I'm a healer. I can see this woman is not big in the usual way you'd expect someone to be big.
Well, if you mean she's fucking pregnant, you're very astute.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. But...
Try to be tactful. Failed.
Yes. What I mean is she okay?
She turns to you and says, I can speak for myself. Why not address me directly?
Okay then. Why are you being led away?
I'm not being led away, I'm being led safely through these streets. I'm off to visit an old friend of mine. A Bokabra friend of mine. But,
Why did
there's
you leave the
types around here, and she gestures in the general direction of all the other people that I've described before. She just waves her hand in that direction. There are types around here who would consider me fair game.
Yeah, that's... Okay, there's a bit of misunderstanding then. I thought you were more in danger.
No, it's because of these fine individuals that I'm not in danger. She runs her hand down the hilt of her sword and says, the Great Serpent understands that someone who is birthing the next generation of Sand Strikers.
That's from that tribe.
Yeah, she's Tenakai.
Mm-hmm.
The Great Serpent understands that those who bear the next generation of Sand Strikers would not be able to fend themselves off against this lot. And you can see, as she gestures towards a window, a kind of half-painted skull face goes.
So,
the serpent understands. I should be in my nest right now. I cannot. So I stay amongst my allies instead. They are my nest for now.
I apologize then. But, and I look towards that window that she motioned towards. So who are those people anyway?
The Quanadoli. Terrible, soulless. And she gives you the same thing that I gave to Danny.
Yeah.
We slaughter them in the wastes wherever we find them. But we abide by the rules here. Unless, of course, they provoke us. It seems that we've killed a number of them already, but yet they still seem to be here, like rats. And we wonder what they feast on. I can only wonder that they may be stealing our dead.
Oof.
For consumption?
Who knows? But they are known to be cannibals to a man.
Very interesting.
Concern.
Alphonse
And
does not approve.
Yeah. By the way,
No.
welcome to an entire town-scale murder mystery.
By the way, Alphonse would actually out loud say very interesting. He's interested, and Felicia, no. He is not disapproving. He's interested in the cannibalism exactly, but their methods. Because they're sustaining themselves. They're living in a different way. So it's I'm not saying he approves. I'm saying it's interesting.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
That's one word for it. I frankly call it disgusting. At which point the Bocabra behind her, and you can see they all are carrying. And I'm taking this from when I used to do some martial arts when I was in uni. They are all carrying weapons that seem to resemble farmyard implements or tools of some kind that could have more than one purpose. To the point where you have a feeling that a group of Bocabra, if they needed to do something, they could use their weapons in conjunction. Somebody will have the right tool.
Right.
Or a group of people will have replicas of that tool. So they want to chop something down, no problem. They want to dig something, no problem. They want to dig up some rocks and get some picks in there. You can see one person has a crow's beak, which is like a one-sided pickaxe. One person has what seems to be like a kind of a lever, and it's effectively a tonfa staff. Somebody has just an out-and-out staff with like a kind of two ends on it that you have a feeling have nothing to do with fighting, and more to do with one of them is useful for one thing and one of them is useful for the other thing. And one person you think is a trident, and then you look at it and it's definitely some sort of combination fork and hoe, some sort of gardening implement. But you can see the way that it shines in the sun is razor sharp.
Right. So you've got an interesting group there, and they're escorting you? Is that just to your destination, or also back here?
We make sure she goes back home safe as well.
But if you're so unsafe here, why stay here and not with your friend?
The Bocabra are more numerous than can fit in our barrio at the moment. We are a resourceful group. We have utilized some of these slum buildings, abandoned buildings for ourselves, even if we do end up with distasteful neighbors. Here we can not be too cramped. It controls disease to have us in multiple buildings. It allows many of us to be able to shelter from the sun. And he looks at one of the burned lines who's clearly passed out on the side and kind of just clucks his tongue before continuing. We are trying to keep ourselves as safe as possible. This, by the way, is a tiefling. He says, and we also have a building within the slums where we take our sick so that we do not spread infection, and we can focus on them primarily. If you are a healer, well, you may be able to employ your abilities there. We would pay with whatever we can find.
I imagine most payment would be food.
We cannot part with food, but you look like a well-fed man. We could potentially part with metals, precious or otherwise. Maybe gemstones.
Diamonds!
The food may not necessarily have been for myself. As you point out yourself, and I've said it, I'm a healer. I would prefer to share it with others that would be in more desperate need. Again, looking at one of the one of the burned blinds.
He looks you up and down. He can't quite figure you out, and he goes, you are a rare breed in this town. But no, unfortunately, food is a premium for us, and nothing is more important than life itself. If you can find somebody who can trade you food or anything else that you desire for the types of things that we have mined up in several months prior to this, then maybe we can do business. Or maybe some of that altruism that you so quite rightly exhibit, if you would like to just help out for free. I can point out the building. Do you see the one there? The arch at the top that has the pattern, terracotta and yellow. That is our sick house, if you can help.
Okay.
The Bocabra will be grateful.
I'll keep that in mind. Obviously, I'll help in any way I can.
Now, if you don't mind, I think we should get this fine lady out of the sun and off her feet.
Yeah, of course.
She kind of glares at him and he goes,
But-
as resilient as you are, lady, I have had 3 wives, and I know that standing for too long in your current condition, especially as far along as you are, is somewhat unwise. Because he didn't say, oh, you can't stand for very long, and he says, oh, it's unwise, she goes, lead on, Ocabra.
So Alphonse will
The wrong
nod.
voice. Lead on, Ocabra.
So I'll nod and watch them leave and turn back towards the slums.
Your human...
Haunted one, which...
One of the Bocabra is a Goliath.
Okay.
And you can see that he's suffering more than the others, probably because the huge appetite that you can imagine a Goliath would have. As he goes by, he kind of gives you a nod, pats you on the shoulder, carries on going. He seems to like the fact that you've given a shit full stop.
Right.
And just giving you just a bit of a smile and a nod. Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Just a reminder, Simon, that Jordan's background feature actually makes people more want to help him. Yeah.
That's why I just did the thing with the Goliath.
Yeah.
That's why. This is why I'm picking towards the slums, because these are not lesser people, but people more.
They are Salt of the Earth folk. Well,
Yeah,
Salt of the Earth folk and crazy necromancy cult.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
Those ones.
people I'm trying to get like. So you're kind of cool. You think I'm cool. You know, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, I mean that's what you got for the most part from this lot. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, the Tenakahi normally have a very, very sharp tongue, no pun intended. And she was really quite nice with you. But the Bocabra are actually the Bocabra are normally friendly until you give them a reason not to be, at which point they're kind of vicious. They defend themselves very, very quickly. But yeah, they definitely warm to you.
Yeah, so that's good. So at least if I bump into them again, it'll be like, hey, I did a thing with you guys earlier, maybe.
Out of character?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that Alphonse, I don't know how much Alphonse would have noticed this, but or if he just thinks, oh, everybody acts this way. But I'm saying to Jordan, yes, you got, just for the fact that you didn't say anything directly insulting or anything like that. Yeah.
Well, I tried to keep to the whole, I'm here to try and help. Where can I help? And they've, like you've said, they've basically went, we've got hurt or sick people over there. It's basically that whole, that's fine.
Go with it.
And you know that the sick in this particular scenario are basically the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if they're weak already, they're hardly going to pull through.
No.
Yeah, I wasn't going to waste too many resources on those that are already on their way out. Can't really save everyone. Alphonse, though, will head towards that abandoned building with the Crondalian.
Oh, shit.
Interesting.
Sure.
Interesting people.
Wow, am I glad my phone is charged. Right,
Have you got anybody with you?
At least
Yes!
one scab.
Yes!
If a skag wants to come along, yes.
Pick
Either-
between Hermit and Aura.
Yeah, it's either or a prime. So if either of you want to come, I'll take either of you with me.
Yes, you have someone
Yeah,
with
they're
you. Don't go alone. Here, take this.
Also, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah,
you
welcome.
Alexia.
I was about to
are
say your
also
name and I
player.
was gonna...
Tell us stuff.
Alexion.
So, Jordan, have you taken any of the skags with you to the Chronodoli?
Literal
That
Hermit
looks
says
like
ready to
Hermit's
serve,
coming with.
sir.
Yep, so I'll take Hermit with me.
So
Okay.
well trained.
So, Hermit, kind of walking along with a satchel, clinking slightly with some of the vials of questionable substances inside.
Nori
You
would be
walk-
proud.
You walk up to a building where the outside of it, you have a feeling at some point was some sort of trading house.
Right.
The front of the building has a pair of double doors, which are open. They open inwards, and it seems to be dark inside. Sprawled about the front of this, in front of the double doors, if you can imagine a semicircular concentric step going down with 4 pillars. And then on the top of the 4 pillars, there seems to be another semicircular section that kind of goes over the doorway, and you have a feeling that was probably some office of renown at some point there to overlook the entrance, you know. But on this semicircular bit, slightly shaded by this overhanging section, you can see a bunch of chronodoli. By a bunch, I mean about 12, who are just sprawled about, almost like a fucked up wolf pack. They're sprawled over each other a lot as well. And they seem to be kind of panting, slightly a bit tired. As you approach, one of them turns around and says in common, "Come to preach to us, cleric."
That's quite the cough you've got there.
I need to wet my throat with something warm.
He's gonna eat you.
I look at Hermit. Sorry, he's not for sale.
Tell me if that changes. I'll find something you desire. What business do you have here? You're not usual preacher. This smell, darkness about you. What is it? What do you want?
Word on this.
Word on this. Is this disguise, preacher? Do you have darker tastes?
I've come because there are some rumors about your people around here.
Rumors? Rumors or facts? They say what they wish, but not all of it false.
When you say not all of it false, so...
Say enough about us and something's got to be right now, hasn't it?
Would Alphonse have been told that there were potentially necromancers, or is it just the cannibal part?
You would have got told that they consort with the dead. They eat the flesh of the dead and the undead, and some of them have been known to drink. What they're describing, the closest that you can come to, is vampire blood.
Right.
That many of these are ghouls, or have at some point been ghouls.
Right. Well, you're looking for something to nourish yourself, then?
Yes, something that entices the tongue. And as his tongue comes out, you notice that his tongue is bifurcated.
Ooh.
Sexy.
Is that a racial thing, or just a choice?
Nope. This one is a... Here we go. This one is an elf.
Ooh, okay.
And looking at the scarring on the tongue when it comes out, it looks like he just put his tongue out onto something flat and went with a knife.
Okay.
Maybe he
By
thought
choice.
it was cool.
It's a choice. Okay.
This is something that actually gets done, by the way. There are people with
Yeah,
that's
there are
what-
real people
that's what I
who
was-
do this.
That's why I was saying, is it a choice thing, or is it a racial thing?
This is a choice thing.
So I definitely know that was the thing they did to themselves, or someone did to
Oh, well,
them.
this one has done to him, at least.
Right.
Yeah. This elf looks more thin and gaunt than any elf that you've ever seen.
Right.
You can't even tell because of the paint, the fact that they've shaved themselves bald, the fact that they're so wasted and the skin so ashen. You can't even place what type of elf they are.
Right. Basically lost to the starvation.
Also, we gained a bugbear. Valixion.
Amazing.
Oh, ooh. Okay.
No, you're not the stowaway.
You're not
just...
stowaway. You're part of the crew. You always have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always have been. They're on an away mission at the moment, but you are on the way back, and
yeah, you're hanging out with the freight while the freight is
if
painting
they
the
call the way back
shore.
in, you are going to be doing whatever they call you to do. These are the officers.
Yeah.
So.
You're shining cannons with the freight.
Yeah, you're currently shining cannonballs, probably with the freight. Mostly they give to freight the shining cannonballs just to give him something to do. But yeah.
But he seems to
I
like
thought the
doing
bugbear
it.
was a big mop. Oh dear. Why do I have a feeling we're going to have a problem with the bugbear and the cobble?
The kobold can't see well when it's like sunlight out.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to get him some sunglasses.
Yeah. Like
Bigger hat is what I vote for.
Big floppy hat.
big floppy hat.
I'm like a musketeer hat. Yeah. It'd go well with the suit. Yeah. Or mariachi hat. Yeah.
I want to give you like big goggles that are just like dark.
A steampunk kobold sounds kind of badass. I need to make that
have
character.
the chicular, the classic captain's hat.
Yeah.
Every now and again, you try to get one over on someone and pretend that Scumfuse is the captain.
Yes. The guy that walks.
Tiny little goblin. Tiny little kobold. So yeah, Jordan. He kind of sneers in your direction and says, "I'll find something to your tastes."
Right, yeah, since I was talking about food, wasn't I?
Yeah. Draped across him is what seems to be a male halfling, a female. You're pretty sure another type of elf, but can't tell which one. There's two tieflings curled up at the back. They're not lying over each other in a kind of amiable way. They just are.
Right.
It's not an aggressive way, and there's not a group hug kind of situation going on. It's almost like they're just lying down where they fell.
Like a crack den, kind of.
Yeah, it's getting a very big
Yeah.
vibe of that. Okay. So, is there any type of specific food you're after? I haven't seen your people around too often.
Anything to keep us going, of course, but I do like me some long pig.
Is that a personal preference?
I'm pretty sure I speak for all of us here when I say we like a little on the side.
God!
You do that too well, Simon. That's good. Love it.
I played Vampire the Masquerade for nearly 20 years.
I was going to say that was a bit too spot on.
Lovely place this, yes. We agree, Herman.
I've played Gangrel and Nosferatu for nearly 2 decades now. I can do freaking. Cappadocian are the worst.
Alphonse will turn to Hermit. We're not staying long. I just wanted to check these guys out. And
The beast.
and I'll turn back to our. I don't have their name yet, do I? The elf.
No. When Hermit says "lovely place," the halfling glares at him, but doesn't look like he would have any energy to do anything. I should imagine that as they glare at Hermit's hand goes inside his bag or something, and immediately the glare kind of goes off to one side.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so
Lord pig, they want human meat.
yes, the man meat.
The man meat.
But it's like okay,
Man meat is down the road on the left.
I'm not after any of the meat myself, but is there anything I could trade with you?
He looks at the kind of rusted and filth-encrusted dagger at his side. Maybe some weapons.
No.
I do like a gentle pat over my own body and say, I don't tend to carry many weapons.
Such a shame. Such a shame. No, we are simple pleasures. No, I don't think you would have anything on me. That you would have anything on you. at least on you, that I would want.
Maybe in you. On your bones.
The bones and the flesh, maybe. But, unfortunately, that's not for sale. I'm still using it.
Tell me if that changes.
Hit
If
me
I
up
stop
if you're
using
dead.
my flesh, it might be difficult for me to tell you at that point.
You'd be surprised.
Why would I be surprised?
We
If I'm
speak
dead?
to the expired all the time. Once you're a member of our tribe, death is less of a threat. After all, some of the people that I speak to on a regular basis are no longer shackled by the flesh.
You speak to dead people?
Why not?
Oh. From where I'm from, if you're dead, you're not doing too much else with your life.
I know. It's frightfully boring. Better to have the party and carry on as much as you can. And after that, all you can do is watch. And they do, you know. I just make sure they have a good show.
Alphonse will be doing like an awkward laugh until that coughing time. It's like, oh, the worry come back. It's like, oh, yep, this man seems sick.
Necromancers, remember, sir, is what you get from Hermit.
Yep.
You ever want a better god? Step inside. Speak to those in the know.
Very,
And
very.
you watch
Question.
he just flops back on the female elf. Just flops back on her stomach and is just lying there. His eyes are still looking at you, but he's lying like a corpse.
Like
In
completely
fact,
motionless.
They're
Yeah.
all, not the blah 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 kind of corpse, but almost floppy.
So almost as if they was animated and now not. Kind of.
You don't know how stylized it is.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, it may be them emulating the undead
That's
as a style thing.
Right. It's kind of working,
Exactly, I'm all
Scorn.
floppy.
I mean, it's kind of working. This is intriguing. This man
and,
is
yeah,
pretending to be dead. Like, what's up with that?
and he's just staring at you, unblinking.
It's like, they might know stuff though. I know this is bad, but they might know stuff. And
They don't seem threatening, though, do they? I mean, they can't do anything.
I mean, other than wanting to eat me, they seem very inviting.
But they are asking very nicely about it. You know?
Yeah, they are asking.
They're being very
fine.
polite.
They've been more polite than most of the other tribes so far.
I know, that's what I mean. That's why part of me's kind of like, oh, I want to go in. They seem fine. Like, I've got a hermit with me, right? I mean, all I've got to do is run faster than a hermit. Which I'm pretty sure I can't do.
Oh no, Scorn, please don't.
Oh no.
No, no.
No, I wasn't interested in that kind of way, Scorn. I'm more interested in the dead not being dead kind of thing. Which for a
Research
healer is
factor.
kind of interesting, because keeping people alive, maybe if everyone just dies and I bring them back, now they can't die. Yay! Kind of
Best
situation.
healer ever.
Exactly. Like if I just kill
That
my
has
friends,
never
and
ever
resurrect them-
gone bad. No, 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 no. Never.
This is the choice though. Can I come back to this bit? This choice.
You need to
'Cause,
think.
Part of me wants to go in. Part of me is like, maybe I shouldn't.
Maybe not.
Oof.
Maybe don't.
Okay. Alphonse is gonna step inside.
Of
Oh,
course he is.
There you go. As you
God,
and Hermit
and-
step inside,
Mm-hmm.
darkness surrounds you, and you can hear whispering in the darkness all around you. You are a human.
Mhm.
You can't see shit.
No.
You are surrounded by whispers.
Hermit can though. Hermit is a half elf.
Yeah, Hermit can see something. In fact, Hermit, roll me exclamation point D20, please, for Hermit.
What do
You
your
may be
elf
living
eyes
vicariously through Hermit for some of this encounter.
Hermit, what does your elf eyes see?
Sorry, Hermit. Even though you've got dark vision, going from such bright into such darkness, your eyes are having trouble adjusting, and you can make out like rough shapes and things, but you can't tell any of the detail. Hermit, as much as you can see, this place is full of trash. You see broken tables, chairs, desks stacked up, and from the darkness you hear, "Welcome, welcome, 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 welcome. Join us, join us.
Oh God, clutches.
Join the tribe. Join the tribe."
No, go away, go away.
They can't join. They're forsaken. They're not allowed to.
Does this voice come from everywhere, or is it coming from like a location?
All over. The one that was most freaky was the one that came from between your legs down below the floorboards.
I'll look down and be like, "What are you doing down there?"
Join us. Welcome, welcome. Join us.
I don't think I can really join you, unfortunately.
By the way, Hermit, I acknowledge that you have drawn your weapons.
Oh, good. This is fine.
You have
Say
a
that, but we'll have an undead Alphonse on our hands if this continues. And I'm not quite sure what Ava would do with that.
I also
Probably make sure you never stood up again.
This goes on for a few seconds, about 30 seconds, before you hear silence, and all the whispering disappears. Who are you, child, who steps in to that where nothing exists?
I am Alphonse.
Names are fleeting. All that matters is the soul. Do you care for your soul, currently called Alphonse?
My soul has uses at the moment.
Oh, you have no idea, currently called Alphonse.
Currently called Alphonse.
Ooh, a name change. Well, I intend to help others. Your people here seemed less fed than others, I'll say.
They are unsated.
Yes.
It shall take more than that for them to be sated. It doesn't matter. We have it in hand. Do not consider our demeanor to mean that we are weak. Are you here to learn truth, currently called Alphonse?
I'm here to try to learn about a few mysteries.
There are many mysteries. For some, you have to give up that which was before to be able to see the big picture. We can help you with that.
It depends on what you mean I have to give up.
Unshackle yourself, child. Enjoy this fleeting moment. This party. But soon you shall be released, and when you are, you shall know the truth that we have known all along. And when you learn it, you shall be free. And you shall see for the first time, you shall see all for the first time, and this and many other secrets shall be revealed to you. But I digress. I think you want to know something a little more simple, a little more local, a little more mundane. So, what can I do for you? I suppose I am at your service.
I imagine this service will come at a price.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yes. Leave.
How about a bargain?
Depends on the bargain.
I wish to ask about one particular subject, and if I was to ask this one thing, what would you ask in return?
Depends on the subject, of course.
Of course.
Again, there are so many secrets, so many things sought after.
Please don't make me the sacrificer.
I whisper to the hermit, don't worry, we're not sacrificing anyone. I'll go back to the voice and say...
You do hear between your legs, "Aw."
I'll ask the voice, I have a question that may be related to necromancy.
Then, child, you are on the path. Consider this, what is it they say? A freebie.
Ooh, creepy. Okay.
Not good, not good, not good, not good.
My question. What do you know about other creatures being sewn or melded together to form a new creature?
Ah, yes, the practices that are so ignorantly coupled together as necromancy do allow for sculpting of the flesh, to take that which is discarded when one becomes an ascendant, and to put it to good use for the greater cause, for the tribe. We are able to take what is needed, an extra arm, an extra head, a little more muscle mass, and we are able to create wonders.
That seems to be more additions to a previous body rather than the creation of a new.
It is art.
I don't think this is the kind of art I was looking for.
Well, there's no accounting for taste now, is there?
Taste.
No, my tastes are seemingly different from yours and of your kin.
In time, you will come around. You seem to be a child of an open mind, currently called Alphonse. Maybe one day you shall learn your true name, your true destiny. Maybe one day you and I shall talk of deeper, darker, more interesting things. You shall know art, you shall know truth. You shall be once unshackled.
My shackles are not permanent, but for now they do keep me binded for my task at hand.
How convenient. When you seek true freedom, remember me.
And then what is your name?
The name I once had will have to suffice. Only those who are unshackled can know the true names, both of themselves and of others. You can call me Ferian.
Ooh. How are you spelling that, Simon?
F-E-R-I-A-N.
Ferian, you say?
Yeah.
Perhaps another day then, for I've gained what I need to know for now.
Go, child. Cavort. Grow. Let your hunger grow with it. And when you are ready for truth, freedom, and ascendancy,
I'm so happy that Hermit is actually with you.
Yes.
Oh, I wasn't really going to sacrifice Hermit, don't worry.
I remember that Hermit's got a sleep bomb. I have a feeling that if Alphonse goes too far, Hermit just kind of goes, well, it'll work as chloroform.
Yeah.
Again, like I was just, if we was gonna run, I can. If that door was closed, I can thaumaturgy it open. We can run if we needed to. Well,
Not if it's locked. Only if it's.
Thaumaturgy only works on unlocked doors.
deemed unlocked, isn't the case.
I have a sleep bomb and a shit ton of acid. I'm good.
Yeah, we can use the acid on
Make
the rock.
sure you use the right one.
Yeah.
Alphonse will thank Therian for obviously the information and talk. And
You
we'll go
come
to-
seeking truth, child. You walk through a door rather than listening to the hoi polloi. Keep seeking truth. You shall get there in the end, child.
We'll see where that path leads another day. But
We
for
shall.
now, we must take our leave.
Trust.
Do not trust.
Go forth and drink deep.
Okay, so
You can just about see a gesture in the darkness.
literally just look a wave.
You can just see some of the black moving over the other black. Yeah.
So I guess me and Hermit will turn around and walk out the door again, back outside.
Okay.
That was you.
It was quite hairy.
I loved that. That was great.
It was great. But
And
also,
with that, we are going to take a 10-minute break. We've hit,
Good,
half
wow.
9 and then some. Yep, we're going to
Yeah, I
take
did.
a short 10-minute break. So everyone stretch your legs, get
Yes.
up, walk around. It's good for you. And grab drinks and go and what else. And-
Yes, Hermit. Some of that we'll keep between me and you and Alphonse. We won't tell everyone all of that. We'll say some bits. We'll say that we didn't learn enough.
See, Corinne, this is what good party members do, is saying, how much of this do you not want me to blurt out to people, as opposed to eclipse? Anyway.
I think
yeah,
people just
so-
have more trust with each other if you tell everybody everything, because then you all know everything, and then it's fine, and people
Each
don't
other,
get upset.
maybe.
Yes.
Each other, maybe. Other people you're trying to keep secrets from, no.
You occupy a very specific place in the compass, don't you? Anyway, refill your cups,
Yeah.
stretch your legs. We will see you in 10 minutes time.
In a
See,
minute.
where's it?
See you later.
Very soon.
And we are back. Hello, everybody. And Scumfuse, we love you.
Yes.
Yes, they definitely won't be bleeding out after that. Right, okay. When we left off, the team had started piecing together what's going on in Port Farouk. Between the conversations with the Twin Axes, with Nikala, I was about to say Danny, Dalkel, went to speak to those who are hungry, managed to rub shoulders with the Chronodoli, almost literally, but ended up speaking to the Wari. Noticed who was at the front of the queue, who was at the back of the queue, and who was missing. Suddenly kind of filtering out who you should focus on. So some great work there by Danny. Jordan/Alphonse went a little more for the jugular, walking to the poorest part of Port Farouk, talking to some passers-by to get some information, gathering information from just stuff he'd seen, and then walking headlong into the Chronodoli. Well, what did you say? It was like a necromancer crack house, wasn't it?
Crack den.
Crack den necromancers.
But then again, crackhead necromancers has a ring to it. I don't know if it's a good
I was about to say, it sounds
one.
like a good band, doesn't it? Yeah. So yeah, you've kind of got a bit of an idea. I'm going to shoot back to the girls, actually.
Thanks so much for Jasman NHS for the follow. I don't know if
I cannot
NHS
disapprove of any part of it, so that's right.
Is the NHS for like the National Health Service of England, or is it just something else?
Either way, I can't appreciate enough. So
I'm sorry, I read what Scumfuse said. Cracked neck den.
Also fits.
that would probably be effective as well. Anyway, so we're going to go back to the girls, who we cut off last session, with a member of the Twin Axes walking away with some good berries that Felicia/Ava gave to him, and he realized that he could send out 10 of his warriors with 1 day of food already in the bank, and he only needs to find rations for 2 more. And he wants to send them out hunting for some extremely dangerous thing called sandrakes. So yeah, when the did I go in the right? No, that didn't go in the right chat. We go back to it. He's already left. You have the dagger, Ava.
Yeah. I got a dagger. I'll put it on my belt. Every pirate has has a place for a sword/dagger.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and Nikala turns around and says, "You make friends easily, Forsaken."
Well, I'd like to think that making friends is a specialty of mine.
Tell me more about this tactic of yours to wine and dine the Lord.
Why? How else am I gonna get the information we need, or want for that matter, than to talk to the people in charge? Besides, who says that's the only tactic?
Certainly, being amongst the upper strata who believe themselves beyond reproach, and maybe loosening their lips with a little bit of delicacies and maybe a little alcohol if we can get our hands on it, would be useful. Anything that we can find.
Out of character, Simon, what did we bring food-wise? Did we bring, like, just a bunch of our
I think you grabbed hold of some jerky. I think you've still got some pickled herring because you didn't destroy all of those. You've got,
we basically grabbed a bunch of, like, excess food from the other ship.
And some of it was actually marked down as the South Meridia Trading Company.
Yeah.
And that was given to you. That was actually handed over to you by one of the members that you, one of the crew members of the, not of the Interceptor, but somebody who was in the brig of the Interceptor.
Yeah, that had been captured.
Yeah, and basically they said that we could use some of their supplies. So my plan was that I would show how much you can make with as little food as possible. Basically making a feast from like a small portion of the food just to show off that hey, this is what you could be eating if you actually had people who knew how to cook.
Yeah.
And
So
thus
you've
save
got
a
some
lot.
grains, some dried fruit, some dried meats, you know, things that keep really well, things that travel well.
I mean, we can probably pad it out with some other things if we make some sort of soup or something where you can, like, the food make it, like, be bigger and feed more people.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Our soup kitchen.
Tell me, Ava, do you have any form of alcohol? I think that would work to loosen their tongues.
We have rum.
Darling, what self-respectable pirate would I be without any rum?
She smiles in a... it's not mirthless, actually. She smiles in a kind of sly and mirthful way, and says, "I'm sorry that I questioned your reputation."
Hermit's rum. Yes, it's Hermit's rum.
Hermit's rum.
I might be able to enhance it somewhat.
No, Scrumptious, we're not putting sawdust in the food. Just.
Alright. To pad out the food.
Hey, that's organic sawdust, I'll have you know.
Yeah, nah.
Free range.
Just calm down and just watch what we say. And this is a learning opportunity for you, Scorm. Just stay here quiet and see what we do.
Oh. Nicola says, I might be able to make it so that there's an emotion attached to the wine. That of fulfillment, contentment, to feel warm, to feel safe. The safer that they feel, the more they're likely to say something.
That would be wonderful, my dear.
Seeing as we are talking to you right now, do you have any inkling of anything odd going on except for the lack of food?
The barriers keep themselves to themselves. We really only learn about the others, the traders, the townsfolk here. This town belongs to no particular tribe. We each have a small portion of it, a little bit of land, sometimes granted to us, sometimes outright owned by us. People are dying. We're starving. What's more to know? That pretty much
Did anything seem
takes up all of our attention.
suspicious about the sudden lack of food that... anything that might have come up, like... Why did they suddenly stop coming, or why...
We were told,
Wait, that was us. Yes, Scorpius.
we were told pirates. Obviously, not yourselves. If so, you'd be very strange pirates to go stealing food and then bringing it to us. Unless you were looking to sell it, of course, at a higher rate. But looking at the what you've brought, you've clearly salvaged what you could. Yes, some sort of pirate force out there. Must be a substantial one if the Seven Sails are unable to.
Well,
defeat it.
you be happy to know that the threat that was preventing Despera most of its food supply has been dealt with. So food.
The issue is only making sure the rest of the world knows it now, as well as eliminating the source.
Spirits be kind, that is good news. In that case, this is a trial of endurance now. There is a finish line.
Yes,
so to speak.
It's getting people away from the current situation, which I wish we had enough food to just feed the entire town, but I don't. If you had the entire town go together with the rations, it seems like you are getting food in, but it's not being distribute equally.
You mentioned the goings on here. Mostly it's just the politics I would expect. Those taking for themselves what they can. The Rosali have some extra favor here. Lord Farouk is, for the most part, impartial. But the Rosali do supply him with magics that the rest of us can't. I have some standing, being able to use the abilities that we have as part of the Wari. The Sun Horde largely keep themselves in check and bolster any military aid that the Lord needs, but so do the rest of us, so that's nothing special. Yes, mostly we're all posturing to get as much food as we can. If the Wari were to get more than their fair share, we would bring it down to our fair share and give the rest to those who need it. But at the moment, yes, politics is straight, difficult. People are dying. We're burying them in the wastes. Some people are going to the Rosali now, working for them, just to get a bit of food. The same with the Bitter Sun Horde. The Bitter Sun Horde will accept anybody, but once you join, you never leave. That's where their numbers have grown so much. Their longer-serving, trained members walk the streets. Those who have joined out of necessity to be able to get a bite to eat, go through their grueling training. Many don't survive it.
Is this some kind of bizarre recruitment tactic, do you think?
I would say they're taking advantage of the situation. Many people who the Rosali hire are sent out to do all sorts of tasks. Many don't return. Some of them will transport things. Some of them have even been sent out with Rosali handlers to take food from A to B, fresh water, sometimes magical supplies, but for the most part, they get sent out into the wastes and never return. Presumably, they've been given some sort of task that if they complete, they will have great reward. And as fools, they go out, test their luck, but they are too weak to be able to complete the task.
And that doesn't seem suspicious to you? That they...
Not really. The Rosali send people out for all sorts of magical components. Normally the heart or the tongue of something dangerous. The eye of something, maybe. Or to go out into the rock wastes themselves and mine residuum. You can't just find it out there. Only a few months before I came here, we were taking shelter in the cave and I could see a glisten in the back of the cave. I was able to scrape out approximately 1.5 kilos of good residuum. Sold it for quite a price. I wish I still had it.
I can imagine that is something that sells for a lot, even in the outer continents. So
it was sold directly from whoever I sold it to. They apparently sold it straight to the Rosali. If I had it now, I would start enchanting an alchemy jug. Oh, such a thing would be so useful now, don't you think?
Yeah. Is it entirely Despera that is currently in effect with the starvation? Or is it only this town? Yeah.
And they all go to the Wahiti, to the Rosali, or those who are further inland and are more confident hunters are living off their wits and their skill. But it's us, the common folk, those who cannot take down a sandrake single-handedly, that start to suffer.
What did the sandrakes eat?
Us.
Okay. I was wondering if there was some kind of prey animal around that would be easier to find rather than the sandrakes.
There are some rodents, some foxes, some meager birds. mostly very small. You have to be able to make a feast out of very little to survive. Smaller animals tend to do well, but unfortunately the very small animals are barely a bite to us.
Yes, I'm
Making a feast out of little is something we've learned, or at least I have. When you're out on sea for longer periods of time, you learn how to make do with rations.
If we didn't have the Kawiti, who they themselves have learned to exploit the sea, we would be in quite some trouble right now.
Yes, I'm just wondering what this... Because I can't imagine there are too many people that are wandering out in the waste to sustain an entire Sandrake population.
Well, we all live in the wastes. We come here only for a visit. We don't really stick to the coasts. They belong mostly to the Kawiti. We wander the plains. We hunt. We know the places of the oases, of the deep caves where you may find nourishment, underground sources of water, things that grow underground. We go from place to place as have generations before us.
Fascinating. I can never imagine being away from the sea for that long. But then again, I get dry very fast. We both do.
Very, very true.
We do tend to stock up at the coast. The sea, of course, is the giver of all life. She turns around and says, and also hunting is so much easier here. She gestures up in the air, and you watch as a seagull just dies mid-air and just falls to the floor. At which point about 11 people jump forward and start fighting over it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And during the fighting, as people walk away, you notice that 2 people have managed to pull wings off, and someone else is running away with the rest of it.
I once heard that Tabaxi called the seagulls as beach chickens.
I've heard much worse names for them.
Beach rats.
I suppose they can be useful in situations like this. Awful screeching, though.
Oh,
Absolutely
yes,
awful.
Scornfused. Not people getting wasted, people wandering around in a wasteland. It's quite different. I'll tell you later.
We'll explain the nuance of that sentence later. Don't worry about him, he's still learning.
So, if you are to employ this tactic and we are to know more about it, I suggest that you allow my sisters to help. I appreciate that means that you're effectively picking a side. But we
Darling,
offer what we offer.
We had a side pick before we even started.
Yeah.
Then let's not beat around the bush. Come with me.
Yes.
She
Tell her more
takes
what
you
we-
to what is number 4. And you can see it's quite close to the palace, and quite close to the more affluent part of the town. The colors, the buildings here have got patterns and bright colors painted on the front. You notice that whatever dye they use to color these mostly kind of adobe walled houses, or adobe, depending where you come from. It seems to be that it's a paste that they make out of different minerals and crushed stones that they turn into a kind of paste, paint on, and then just allow the sun to bake it on. So it's got this beautiful texture to it. And she says, the sisterhood will help you. I'm sure that we'll be criticized for bringing you into our barrio, but by the looks of it, your friends are making themselves known as well.
Yes.
Not quite sure what that comment means. As she walks in, and you can see that as you walk in through what's just a single door that's on the corner of the building, so it kind of chops off the corner of the building slightly. The door is good wood. It's leaded glass. It's not reinforced. In fact, this building is quite domestic, almost mercantile in its nature. And sure enough, when you walk in there, this the opening room into it has a long counter, behind which there are rows and rows and rows of jars with what seems to be dried herbs, kind of short twigs, what seem to be dried berries.
Does
Other
Ava
things seem to
recognize
be...
them as a herbalist?
As a herbalist, you recognize most of them. This is herbalism still. Yes.
I will look around and see if there's any interesting thing that I might actually try and buy from them.
Okay. Are you looking for anything in particular, or just generally looking?
Anything that can spice up tonight's meal, and also stuff that I'd like to bring with me out on sea afterwards, like things against seasickness and things that make you relax and just calming, aromatic, you know.
Okay.
I'm a mild fish.
So first of all, give me a cook's check. First of all, and with this is it's related to survival. So give me a wisdom-based cook's check.
Yes, survival. That is a good one. Oof. Oof.
You are a bit of a rough cook. You're the Hugh Fernley Whittenstall of the ship.
Excuse you. I am a baker first and foremost, which is
Sous
why my
chef.
cooking is slightly worse. I deal with sweets, not savory, but also that's a 25 total.
Yes, you immediately point out a bunch of herbs that will either make it more organic, botanical, and certainly more aromatic. And then there's others that will spice. There's others that
I
are kind of got a
Squirm by
pseudo-sweet
the
taste
hand
as well.
again and hold his hand as we're standing here, making sure he doesn't
kid in the
touch
candy
anything.
store.
Making sure he doesn't touch anything.
Confused. Give me a exclamation point D20.
You're gonna be stealthy, I promise.
And so the
Aw. That's what D20 rolling twos today.
yeah, you reach out and unfortunately Ava just grabs your hand in
Shirin.
time before you get to. Sorry, Shirin grabs your hand in time before you're able to get any of the shiny-looking jars. Otherwise, I would have given you something. Yeah, you can see a number of things. You actually see that they have some. They seem to be growing. You can just about see it on the kind of a covered part of the counter. They seem to be growing some master molds of yeast to make bread, to make like sourdough bread.
Ooh.
And they seem to be very
Sourdough
practical
style.
about it. Everybody who's at the counter is female. They all have kind of leather aprons on to show that they are who you need to approach. But there is a collection, almost like it's a bit of a cafe, but no one's eating. There's a couple of sets of chairs and tables, kind of round tables with 4 or 5 chairs around it, where women are just sat there. Some of them have children on their lap. You do see that there's a couple of guys at the back who are currently writing in ledgers. But it seems to be that this whole thing is run by the women, and that they seem to be in charge of it all. So that's the first thing you rolled for. Then make me a medicine check.
I'm also good at those.
Yes. One.
24.
24.
Really good
So-
rolls.
Yeah, you can see that there is a kind of like encrusted stone that if you put under your tongue helps with seasickness. It's kind of a salt. It's like a calming salt, but kind of calming to the senses, the center of balance, the stomach. Also good for acid, stomach acid. And for calming effects, there is 2 things available. One, you smoke, which calms you the fuck down. You can put it in an incense burner just to kind of generally fill the room. Or if you want somebody to calm down very specifically and very rapidly, you can put it in a pipe and smoke it. It has a calming effect. The second one is what seems to be a tincture. So a tincture is something that's been extracted, usually using Typically a vinegar, so like a kind of a clean vinegar. You'll put a herb in there, and the vinegar will extract things over time. Sometimes it can be out of alcohol, because alcohol has extracting properties to be able to do this. This is actually real, by the way. I used to.
Oh yeah. That's how you get vanilla extract.
Yeah, yeah. I used to work at Neil's Yard, so I know a lot of these.
I don't approve of using a vanilla extract myself, but hey ho, everyone to their own.
Well, it's a lot cheaper.
It is cheaper, yeah. And it's pretty much the only thing you can get here in the UK. Although lots of them are doing vanilla pod now. And so yeah, you can see that. And one of them, when you see they've kind of put a sprig of the herb next to it, and you know that a couple of drops of that on the tongue will give a peaceful sleep.
Liana,
it won't
40,
send
40,
you to sleep,
thank
but
you
it
for
will make
follow.
it peaceful, or it will help in game terms. It will give you advantage versus frightened, so it calms the nerves.
Interesting.
Now when we decide to ally ourselves with this lady, I message Ava as I think we should tell her about the turtle.
Yes, but as soon as we get out of the open.
Yes.
She says, as much as you can trust my sisters. I think, yes, this is for the back room. Ladies, we need to... And she looks around to see if there are any customers, realizes it's only you, and still goes up to them and whispers something, and they go, yes, we'll prepare it. And she goes, we'll have a good bottle of rum. We'll make it better bottle of rum as well. And they go, yes, we can get hold of the bottle. You can see that they break up getting various components, and reaching under the desk, one of the women pulls out this beautiful, ornate blue glass bottle. It looks beautiful. It's fluted. It's got patterns in it and all the rest of it. She goes, put the rum in here. It will do much better than that bottle. And she pours it in, and you can see she takes out a beautifully edged label and starts writing with a perfect script.
It's gonna taste better because it's a fancier bottle.
Fancier bottle, and they're going to basically enchant it.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to enchant it, they're going to bless it. So it doesn't show up on Detect Magic effectively. Because it's going to just be a blessing. As some things are blessed and some things are not. So she starts with this beautiful handwritten script to make it look like the real deal. Effectively, they're forging what is going to be vintage rum.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, you'll be able to taste it like this confused, but only a little bit because you're not allowed to have much.
A drunk kobold just running around in the palace.
A drunk kobold in a
sliding
suit running around the
across
palace.
the shiny floors.
One of the women looking at Sconfuse nods her head to one of the men and says, Kadoshi, give the child some rules. You can see this man's been chewing, kind of looking like he's chewing on his tongue. Reaches into his pouch, snaps off about an inch of something, and says, "Don't swallow it, little one. Chew it, side of the gun." And throws it at Sconfuse.
Oh no, you're giving him chewing tobacco!
Yep.
Child.
Yep.
No.
No, not the Scorpius as a child. Scorpius a fully grown kobold.
No, but he's our
These
child.
guys have never met a kobold in their
No.
life.
Because they're concerned he's probably a dragonling child.
Like a dragonborn child,
Yeah.
Dragonborn child or something like that. There are no kobolds on Jaspera. So
Catches it in my mouth with citrus. Oh dear. You've given...
So Sconfuse, the root is peppery and sweet. It makes your saliva taste nice. I used to chew licorice root when I was younger.
licorice fruit.
so-
Okay, it's not chewing tobacco.
But this is different. It doesn't taste like licorice. It's kind of peppery and sweet at the same time. It's nice. So yeah.
Constitution check.
You're now
That
addicted.
would've been something. No.
Rolls a 2.
This one's free.
Okay. So she leads you into the back and she says, "Yes, this shall be perfect. If you need any other spices, herbal supplies that you can see, I noticed that you were looking at the jars. The ladies will help portion off what you need. I think this is
that
a
would be
sound
good.
investment for us." And you can see that she is taking out coloured sand and she's making patterns on this beautiful round table. You can see that the table
I
is
wouldn't mind
perfectly varnished.
helping to repay you for it. Well, we don't have much in the way of gold right now because that's sort of our captain's thing. But I could make more good berries if any of your people need to eat and help that way.
We all need to eat, Forsaken. But yes, there are a few of us that could do with it more than others. Some of the children certainly.
Oh, Scrumptious is giving the lady a beholder cookie.
That's adorable.
Yeah, absolutely. She says, "Oh, thank you, young one."
Young one.
Yeah,
That's
we're
just
just
confused,
gonna
guys. I'm middle-aged,
accept
mate.
that. As far as they're concerned, he's a child.
Yep.
They're a child.
Yep.
It's-
They've never seen one before, and they've only ever known the flats.
Yep.
And she said, "Thank you, child. Thank you for sharing."
He's-
And while she's doing the dropping the sand, and the way she's sprinkling it, it's making these patterns, and the several colors that kind of weave on top of each other until the entire edge of the table is this beautiful spilling into each other patterns of different colors.
so adorable.
She does actually start singing a particular song, which, if Scornfuse was a child, would have blessed him.
But
Nothing.
he's 95.
How old are you, Scrumptious? Like, how old is the character Kobold Scrumptious?
I'm trying to remember what's the lifespan of a
Kobold?
135. I just looked it up. They can live to 135.
Oh wow, okay. Oh, because the dragon
I
element.
literally
of course,
just looked it up.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe he's like
Actual
30.
lifespan
11 days.
135. Realistic lifespan about 11
Yeah,
years.
precisely. About 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's kind of singing to herself, and she says, "Please place the rum in the center." And you can see that equidistant around the room, the women have come in, taken the aprons off, and are taking their place around. You place the rum in the center of the table, and this kind of haunting but mellifluous sound comes from the women gathered around the table. The various dusts and sands that they use to make the strange flowing pattern around the table starts to glow, and the colors that were already there start to become more vibrant. A mist of the different colors of the different components starts to rise out of the table, no more than a couple of centimeters, and starts to waft towards the bottle. And then very, very quickly, once the mists all start to congregate around the base of the bottle, there's a... and the table is bare, apart from the bottle, that glows very, very slightly, and then dulls completely. This shall bring joy to anyone who drinks it. They shall know that they are safe. They shall know that they are in comfort.
Perfect. This a hearty meal? Well, I'm certain we can loosen their tongues enough.
Okay.
Now we only
I'd
need
like-
to ask the right questions.
I mean, Scorm. We now Scorm is 20, so Scorm is a fully grown adult.
But technically a child. In comparison.
So you get a kind of small parchment bags with parchment parcels full of the spices that you need, Felicia. And she says, "Shall I take you to the kitchens of the palace?"
Oh, I would love that. I'm gonna have to prepare some, so that would be lovely.
Do you require us to fetch your friends?
If you wouldn't mind, at least keep a lookout for them in case they're asking where we are.
There's a far-off look on her face. She kind of has this 1,000-yard stare and says, "Oh, we've been watching them carefully."
Very smart. I would have done the same. Now, before we go anywhere, is there somewhere private we can talk?
She
suppose
gestures
this
around
is
because
Yeah,
you're in the
that's
back
it.
room.
We're okay.
She
I thought
gestures
there was.
around and says, "Sorry, I forgot to mention. This room is warded. It is a private place."
Okay.
Right.
We
About
have-
the attacks that we mentioned earlier on the trading ships on their way here. That was not pirates. We've already dealt with the ship in question. And it was only one ship.
One ship caused all of this.
It was a very strange ship. The crew had failed biomancy experiments performed on them. The captain of the ship, he initially looked like an illithid, but was not. He was just had a mutated squid head. The worst part about this ship is that it had this genetically engineered turtle creature that was propelling the ship around, which meant they didn't rely on the wind. But it had been grown in the hold and hadn't grown a shell or anything. If it was some sort of turtle, it had flippers and it had like a turtle, but it didn't have any shell. As if
It was definitely part whale, part turtle, and maybe some lizard in it if the regenerating abilities were anything to go by. But considering that it kept cutting up its back, I would say that they didn't need them for everything. It was horrifying.
You can see looks of absolute disgust from everyone who's in attendance. And Nikala turns to the gentleman that gave Scumfuse the root and goes, "Husband, biomancy?" He says, "Oh, Kanahoka." And she goes, this biomancy that you speak of, could this be some nation that wishes to harm us? It seems to be of the high magics.
From what we could see, most of the ones there were either people they had kidnapped off the ships they attacked or just parents.
Yes, we found most of the people that were on that ship were completely gone and not, of our ways of finding lost souls and returning them to service in other ways. And almost all of the people on that ship were unable to serve. We found 2 of the entire crew. One is a previous Tanakahi. The other one is currently unknown.
Neither of them can really remember their lives before the experiments began or who they are.
The Tanakahi has great shame in them. Thanks.
Yes, they would do. We may be able to use this to our advantage. Thank you for entrusting me with this information. If
Any allies we can get would be preferable, and you seem like good people, at least, compared to the others we've met so far.
We are civilized, at least. We are not above doing bad things to those who deserve it.
Darling,
I mean-
you're talking to Forsaken.
There's just a This time, mirthless smile coming from her. So she's like, yeah, witches have two sides. Yeah, don't get on the cursed side of us. And she says, indeed, we may be able to use this. The Tenakahi have suffered less than the others. They are, well, let's just say they require slightly less calories than some of our more stronger tribes. Some of our number can communicate magically over long distances. We should be able to, with your assistance, contact your ship, and with a representative of the Tenakahi, maybe find out who this poor unfortunate is.
Yes.
Or at least confirm that this is Tenakahi. If true, whoever did this to them, the Tenakahi would declare a blood hunt on them.
Yes, that might be useful. As far as I could confirm, I am touched by the Shadowfell and have some mind magic of my own, so I was able to find some parts of his mind which were some flashes of the Great Serpent and the Great Temple as well. Was the Great Serpent Temple, was it, Simon? Yeah, the Great Serpent Temple. And once we illusioned up a image of their god, he prostrated himself on the deck.
Yes, in that case we can do this far faster. Send for Senavastra. And you can see that a quite well-fed kid, once told about this, sprints out of the door.
It's Dave time, yes, it's Dave time.
It is Dave time.
As he sprints out, you can see that as he passes, a number of the women, they turn to him and say, and as he passes, you can see momentarily patterns just kind of appearing on his skin and then fading very quickly as they give him protective wards as he leaves on his errand. About 20 minutes, a bit more than that later, you can see that an elderly man walks in and says, Nogala, you know that I feed my brood rather than myself. Why would you bring an old man out in this heat? And she says, because you're not yet toothless, and I think you may wish to strike. Take a seat. I shall bring you some water. She sweetens the water with some berries and hands it to him and says,
do you want to hand him a good berry, Ava?
I was thinking of carrying about some in case he could distribute it.
You have good friends, Nikala, if they are capable of the good berry spell. We only have a few amongst us who can do this, and so far they are casting it relentlessly to keep us alive.
As Ava says that, she will actually cast the spell in her hand and basically hand him.
He takes one, pops it into his mouth and says, I shall not take food from the plates of those that need it. Please distribute the rest amongst the children. We survive in the Tenagahi at present. But you can see that he's probably he's probably not been feeding himself.
No.
And giving it away. And you can see that the second that he has...
Which is why Ava gave it to him, because
when it pops
he's
in his
as
mouth,
much a healer as Alphonse is. He just usually doesn't do that stuff, because they have someone who is dedicated.
Actually, both the girls, give me a religion check.
Religion? Ooh.
I should be decent at that. I am not decent at that, but I can try.
Yeah, intelligence, I have a +1. Actually,
I have a +2. I'm wise, not intelligent. What will a 15 give me?
Actually,
8.
Scorm can do this as well. I just realized that Scorm has a slightly higher chance than you guys have of getting it.
Yes, I
He's
got an
pocketing
8.
If you get the nat 20.
Yep.
Pocketing it.
What is he pocketing?
Sucker. The berry, of course.
So yes, Scorm, make me with just exclamation point D20, and that will be a religion check. I'll do the rest of the maths myself.
Oh, 10.
Oh, 10.
Okay. So
That is the highest chat has rolled today.
Yeah. I got an 8, by the way, so I don't fucking know.
obviously, because this guy is Tenakahi, he has a snake motif
Yeah.
on his clothing. But you do notice both Felicia and Scorm. He has the symbol of Zaire at his belt.
Oh, shit. Oops.
Who's that?
That is the evil snake god.
Well,
Oh, okay.
evil as any other snake is.
I don't give a fuck.
Zaire consumes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, he's not in a good pantheon.
No, he's not in the good pantheon. He is definitely not going to be part of the Justice League. Yeah.
And I don't demand that people follow good gods. Like, you go you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You follow a good god. That's just like overachieving at this
I mean,
point.
Scorm probably would have, in his lifetime, seen some of the harsher Zaire temples where people would have been swallowed alive by giant serpents as part of the sacrifices. You've seen it. You've seen it in various places, sometimes on the belts of posers and things. He seems to wear it domestically. And you think that he might actually be a cleric. And he says, "So what have you brought me, Nigala?" And she says, "This one here, Shuri." And he hands out a hand that you can see that the knuckles are slightly swelled with arthritis. And he says, "Pleasure, my lady."
Oh.
Well, as much as this is a as much as it is a pleasure beyond my years to be in the presence of such beautiful ladies. How is this of import? And she says, "I need you to access this woman's mind, with her permission. See the things that she has seen. Know the things that she has known. About your tribe. Go no further, enter no more of her thoughts. Attack, as if I would, woman."
That is good.
Is this true, child?
Yes.
Do you know of some of my tribe who have been wrong?
Yes, very much so.
Then have no fear and take my hands. And these two, the skin is pulled taut over his hands as he opens them up. But you can see that the palms of his hands are covered in calluses as a hard-working person. He says, "Take my hands, child, and have no fear. I shall go nowhere that you do not show me. Think of the things that you wish me to see,
Yes.
and I shall do the rest."
Yes.
He's doing the same fucking spell as you, but
Yeah.
he's doing it with a bit of class, and he's doing it in a clericy way.
Yeah.
Not a
obviously I
sorcerer
know.
way, which is brute force and
Brute force,
innate
yeah.
talent.
Yeah. I know the spell very well, so I am very.
You make it your surface thoughts.
Yeah, I make it first of all my surface thought. So I just I think about the ship, all the things there, what happened there. I think of the crew members. I also think of how I found out.
Oh, you're going for the full download. Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you download pretty much the last 3 sessions into
The
his
ship
head.
part and
The ship part, yeah. The
and
relevant parts.
especially I focus a lot on his tribe member and also
on Dave.
Yeah, on Dave.
On Dave, and the glimpses you could see in Dave's memories.
Well, I could see, and also him prostrating himself of the illusion of the snake.
When you open your eyes, you notice that the old man's eyes are now snake-like. And when he speaks with certain, with a literal forked tongue, and he goes, "This shall not do. I believe your cleansing of the one you call now Dave
Oh no.
Sorry.
will be required, and when you are finished, bring him to us."
Once he has served his time with the Forsaken, he's free to return.
To this. Nekala, we must do something about this. I consider it a boon that you brought this to me. We shall strike and devour those who have insulted us. What do you need of us? Nekala says, should it come to violence, I need you ready. Yes. We shall be ready.
Do you know of anyone of the tribes in the city that is prone to biomancy?
The Rasali, who else? The rest of us have our patrons. Some speak to spirits. He gestures to the Wari. Some speak to the gods. We keep our cultures. We keep to ourselves. Occasionally with skirmishes and fracas. But this is abomination. I see the machination of the Rasali, and I shall not be satisfied until I feel them slipping down the gullet of the great serpent.
I mean, the Rasali is the ones that have controlled the ports, that have been unaffected by this at all, and have reaped the greatest benefits.
We have basically destroyed any resistance against them by allowing the other tribes to hunger.
To do what you have shown me, they would have required a facility close to the coast. I shall find this. I shall go and speak wide to all who owe me, and many do. I have lived long enough to gain boons. I shall find this. I shall ask the great serpent itself to find this.
He's gonna cry.
This continent, my kind. And you can suddenly feel almost like snakes are slithering over your skin. He's still got hold of your hands, and you can feel serpents crawling over your, slithering over your skin, wrapping around your flesh. You know they aren't there. It's just a sensation in the back of your head. I shall open 1,000 eyes across the desert. We shall taste the air with our tongues and find this place. It shall taste differently to any other, and I shall bring the location to you.
Let's go.
Can we have an alliance?
We do. He lets go of your hands, and suddenly you're like, oh, thank fuck. Oh, God, Skull. He stands up and stares into the middle distance for a while, and suddenly you just see not a pleasant transformation as the eyes just back into human eyes. And
the snake eyes didn't have an eyelids, by the way. They did not blink a single
he didn't
time.
blink the entire time, yeah. He blinks now, and you notice that his face just slightly squares up a bit more as well, and he says, consider the Wari and the Tenakahi in good favor with each other. And you watch as Nekala just bows, just an elegant half bow. He bows back and says,
how about you bring these with you? And I hand him the other berries. So that you can send out as many as you can want.
He reaches for your hand, and if you allow him to take it, he kisses your hand very gentlemanly and says, "You are a delight, Forsaken." And
I try.
And walks out. He kind of came in almost arthritically. He strides out with purpose, as he is currently infused with the power of his god. Nakala
The
says,
look of vengeance.
Yes.
Great look in the morning.
Great.
and Nakala allows herself a short laugh and says, "Yes, you'd recognize that look, wouldn't you?" "Yes, you have connected him with purpose, which is good. He was starting to waste away. He's not wrong. Even though we have augurs, seers amongst us, his is better."
All this
You
things
do
to
see
go,
that
la,
there's
la,
a
la,
woman
la.
in the corner who has a slightly hurt look. You have a feeling she's the augur.
Oh,
And,
I'm sure you're great too.
She looks at you as if to say, "Oh, thanks." And they wrap up the rest of the meal that you are to prepare and stride with you up to the palace.
Tales of the nicest Forsaken, apparently.
Yes?
Oh, kill him with kindness. I mean, it's one of those things where she's like, "I'm nice, I'm nice, I'm nice. I cook someone's face." You know. It's a thing.
I give them a meal and they never wake up. Like, I don't know what happened. They must have had an allergic reaction they never told me about.
There's a lot of that going around.
Like,
Must
I
be
had
allergic
no
to
idea they had
poison.
allergic reaction to snake venom. I was just about to say, you know,
That's a delicacy in the Feywilds, you know.
Oh, that one doesn't work.
considering I've nearly called her Glory, but considering Felicia's other character is the Charisma Bunny, bear in mind Charisma's character, Felicia's character has in this, who's supposed to be wisdom based, has got a dagger from the Twin Snake, Twin Axe tribe, and now has the Tenakahi, who are known for their dealing with poisons. On side, and between her and Shirin, of course, not just the Tenakahi, but also the Wari as well. So it looks like you're kind of like, okay, we're deciding which factions aren't responsible. And I honestly feel like with all of your teamwork today, you've kind of done like you're playing Guess Who, and you're like, okay, so it's not the witches, it's not the snake people.
Not
Probably
the
not the
necromancers.
It's not the fetish necromancer.
See, we're good at this.
not
Currently
the
called
Twin Axe.
the fetish necromancers.
So, with this game of Guess Who being played in Port Farouk, the promise of getting some more information with your master plan of a meal, and the continuing investigative work that you guys are doing within the town itself, you're getting closer to knocking down more of the pieces to find out who is responsible and how they are responsible. You've gained some information, others you may have missed. But sure enough, you're starting to decide who must pay the price of vengeance in this case. And we will continue with you being able to lock down on those people and deciding what kind of vengeance should be enacted next week. So, it is close to 11 o'clock, and we are going to wrap up there because I want to raid. I keep forgetting to raid, or I keep
Kate's
ends
on.
up going too long.
Yes.
Kate is on.
Let's go raid Kate.
We are going.
decided.
Yeah, we are going to raid Kate Madison. But first of all, a big thank you to Felicia, Corinne, Jordan, and Danny for their story today. And as always, I'm Simon, and it's always my honor to be your storyteller. If you guys in the chat enjoyed a particular brand of chaos, please check out the Discord link below. Come in and talk about any game. We mostly do role playing on the channel, but we have a bunch of WoW addicts. We have people who are playing all sorts of games at the moment. Some of our chaotics, like the lovely Kate, who we are about to raid, play a whole variety of games on Twitch. we are going to have some new stuff coming up soon as well. Our next game, however, is the same time tomorrow, so 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. tomorrow night, where we'll be joining Corinne and Felicia and the lovely Ed for Star Wars Legends of the Sprawl as we continue going into the backstory of JT, our party droid, or one of the party droids.
I don't see it foreseeing being cancelled this week because we had
Sorry, Tuesday has not been a good day for the last 2 weeks, but barring any disaster happening between now and tomorrow night, we want to get back into that because I do want to crack on with that campaign.
Yeah.
It is on. It's not really a shorty. It's what is it? It's a medium range campaign, I guess. It's not a saga, and it's just been one that
I think it's nearing its end, but
we've got a few bits that we need to do first. But yes, it is nearing its end.
Yeah.
Closing it
so that is tomorrow.
On a end, at least.
Yes.
Yeah. But we are going to raid. So and we are going to raid.
Everyone, stay in chat. We will go into title screens, but we will be raiding. So don't.
Oh,
leave.
I don't have any thing to like.
Yeah, we
put
don't
on.
have titles on this one.
No, so we're just
we need to get that off.
Why are you
find out how
so
to do the
lazy, Corinne?
Yes, why am I?
Fix that.
Yes.
Stay for the chaos points.
Yep, stay for the chaos points, and don't forget those of you who have got the emotes. Don't forget to spam them in the chat. She knows about them already because she helped decide some of them. But it's always good to do that.
Yeah, so make sure you spam the Cora cookie. Yeah,
Yes.
Cora cookie. Spam Cora cookie.
Yeah, spam Cora cookie because
Cora Cookie
character.
actually is her character. So let's go into there, and if I can get Kate in first, I'll try and get my Chaos Ensues first.
I keep telling people to give me ideas.
But yes, make sure you press the raid button so we don't go now.
Yep, as soon as I do the correct emote.
And Scorn, any of the art you want to upload, we love seeing it.
Oh my god,
Yes.
we love it so much.
Please. The art
anything you
room
wanna
is
do.
open for everyone to use, not just me.
Yes.
Even
you
though
do
it
draw
was a way
anything-
for me to basically get as much praise as possible because I need validation.
It's like, look at my art. Say it's nice.
And we are going to raid.
Yes.
Yay!
Bye.
Okay, spam some emotes. Cookies.
And are we done though? That's the question.
Yes,
And
I
I've
need
gone
to
into
press-
an advert